Hey there, everyone. I am back with comics I read this week. There's not that many, actually. I didn't read as much stuff this week as I would have liked, but I got 3 books. So 3 books. We're gonna talk about them. 3 good ones, at least. Well, 2 good ones and one kind of okay one. But yeah, we'll start with the kind of okay one. We've got Doctor Strange: The Way of the Weird. Now, anybody's watching these videos, which is not many people really. Let's be honest here. It's fine though. We've got Doctor Strange here, but if you're watching these videos, you realize that I don't read a lot of Marvel stuff. Like, I'm not super into Marvel. There's a couple of things I'm interested in, but not a ton anymore. And Doctor Strange is a character I really like. I've always really liked. And so I got this Doctor Strange book. I found it at a shop, like a used shop, and it was pretty cheap. So I was just like, yeah, I'll give Doctor Strange I always liked Doctor Strange. This book, man, it's not Doctor Strange. Okay, let me go back here. Doctor Strange, like the way magic works in Marvel is not the way magic works in DC, and I'm saying that because the writer of this book, Jason Aaron, thinks Marvel's magic is DC's magic. That's all I can say. Like, and he also thinks Doctor Strange is John Constantine. That's it. That's like the only explanation for this book. He thinks Doctor Strange is a goofy John Constantine, like a goofball John Constantine. And I will give you solid examples of this throughout this entire story. So first, okay. Well, you can look at this. The art is good. I enjoy the art in this book. It's really nice. Whoever the artist is, Chris Bacalo, maybe, but okay, probably butchered that name, but okay. So here in this book, Doctor Strange is constantly talking about the price of magic, right? Like, if you do magic, there's a price. You have to pay a price to do the magic. That's 100% John Constantine. Like, it's not usually the way Marvel's magic works. At least it didn't in the past. Maybe they've like totally revamped it for some reason. Dumb though. So Marvel's magic is mostly based on like magic, like spells and all these like weird, it'll be like this magical item like the Eye of Agamotto, and he can like use this, channel his power from gods or whatever. It's not the way it works in DC. It's how it works in Marvel. But like, so here in this, Doctor Strange is constantly talking about the price to use magic, and there's like all this stuff where like he is doing things where like he can't like eat normal food and stuff. But then like again, here's another thing. I want to find it before I start talking about it. But okay, so in this thing, in DC, okay, it's got to be in this one because I saw it on the cover. Okay, so in DC, there's like all the magic users have this bar they go to. It's the Oblivion bar. If you ever read Shadow Pact, it's like Shadow Pact. They're like basically their base of operations was the Oblivion bar, like run by the Nightmaster. And now like I think Justice League Dark is at the bar because Detective Chimp is now the owner. But okay, so like there's the Oblivion bar, and like John Constantine also has like Papa Midnight's bar, like the kind of bar or whatever. But like the Oblivion bar is like a place for magic users to go. In this comic, they introduce the bar with no doors. It's like a bar where all the magic users hang out. Like, it's so derivative of like the way DC's magic works that it's like unsettling. It's just like this dude didn't want to like make a Doctor Strange comic. He wanted to make a goofy version of John Constantine as a comic, and that's this. So like, the problem is like, um, that's not how Doctor Strange is. But also like in this, it's kind of like Doctor Strange is kind of like, um, he's kind of like Constantine. He's like constantly like trying to pick up girls and doing stupid shit. It's not, and like, because I like Constantine, I think this is kind of all right, but it's kind of not Doctor Strange. So, like, if I find more of these, I might buy them, but like at the same time, I wish somebody else was doing this. Like, I wish it was like an actual Doctor Strange book. So, yeah, whatever. But on to that. Next is Hellblazer. So we've actually got John Constantine in here. This is book 3 of the collected Hellblazers. I've read these before, like when they originally came out. So I've been like, I'm still not caught up to where I stopped reading, and I'm not sure when that was, because I remember this story. This story is here. This is like the what is the arc? It's like the Fear Machine. So like, it's kind of a cool thing though, because it gives you a good look at John Constantine. Like he in the previous book, he's like kind of messed up, and he gets kind of framed for murder, or like as like someone who was part of some kind of like crazed murderous ritual. And like whatever, he's like in the paper, so he's gotta like run away. He's like on the lam, I guess, and like he stumbles into this like group of like peace hippies or whatever. They're like traveling hippies, and he just joins their little like group, and it like kind of sets him off into this other thing with other magic, where like he's running around with like this kind of crazed psychic girl, and then the character Zed from the previous book shows up, and they have to fight this kind of like secret organization, like a Freemason group that's trying to summon some evil god or whatever, and they have to like sort it out. And as they do, it's a good story. I really enjoy these. It's kind of like a fun kind of blast to the past to read these, but also I like the character. I like the characterization. I like like the other characters is what I want to say. There's hardly a bad story in here. There's I have very little complaints about this, because like you get some kind of like downtime where like here he is like in this kind of hippie camp just doing stuff, and and it all gets set up in a way that like, okay, he's doing what he's doing, and he's pulled back into some kind of crazed magical plot again. And I want to say that I always liked the covers for Hellblazer. So these covers are like, they're totally different from the comic books, the style of the art. So like all of the covers have these like kind of looks like this. Like they're really nice. I really like the kind of painted stuff going on. Like I don't know who's doing these covers. I'm sure it'll say somewhere in here. Cover artist, who is it? Doesn't say. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say who the cover artist is, but I'm sure I can figure it out, because they're all really good though. I wish it said who did the cover. Yeah, it doesn't say. So I don't know. Who does these covers. If anybody knows, just comment on it. Comment who does the cover art for Hellblazer, because that would be cool. But like, look at these covers; they're all great. They all look they barely have anything to do with the story, and they look totally different from the art style, but they're all great. Like, look at that; that's a great cover. But overall, like, I've got a stack of these. Like, I bought a bunch of these all at once. So like I'm just working my way through the pile. I'm trying to figure out where I left off. But I, I'm starting to think that I stopped reading around issue 70 or so, like up in the 70s. Like I'm on like 20 something here. So like I'm not even close. I don't even have up to 70 in the books, I don't think, that I bought. But it's good reading them again. Good reading, good stories, interesting everything. So those are really good. Last book, another Marvel book. This is like sort of a cheating Marvel book. It's made by Marvel though, but this is Miracle Man. So Miracle Man is kind of your British knockoff of Shazam. So like in the 50s, Shazam was really popular, and then this British company was just like, well, I guess we'll just make our own knockoff Shazam. So, but this book is not the 50s one. It's the early 80s reboot by Alan Moore. He is, this is a thing where Alan Moore is like a cranky old man who's kind of like, doesn't, he like hates people using his name or whatever. So like, like the story is by the original writer. And like the original writer is just like pseudonym for Alan Moore, who doesn't want his name on stuff. That's it. Like, but this story is great. I've never read these. I'd never read these before, and I don't remember. Somebody was talking about it. I think I heard about it when I was like reading some really long retrospective article about the history of Shazam, and it's a really interesting article. But it's like, it's all about the artists and stuff. It's not about the content of the comics. It's just like about the history of the writers and like the kind of weird past of how Shazam became a thing. But this was mentioned in there, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm gonna look at that. So I got it, and this is really good. It's kind of based on the old concept of Shazam, where like, Shazam, who is the original Captain Marvel, is originally Billy Batson and Shazam are not the same person. They kind of like swap places when he becomes Shazam. He's an adult. It's like a totally different body. That body is like a different thing, right? So this plays on that kind of... that's not how Shazam works anymore, but previously that's kind of how Shazam worked. And in this one, that's a kind of a thing, but like Alan Moore is like playing on the concept of that. So like Miracle Man is Mike Moran. He's a different guy, but he like becomes he has forgotten he's Miracle Man. He suddenly becomes Miracle Man again, and he comes back and he talks to his wife as Miracle Man, and he's like, yeah, I'm Mike, I'm your husband. And she believes him, and they like sleep together as he's Miracle Man, and she gets pregnant from Miracle Man, who is like technically a different person. So there's that kind of thing. And then like the Kid Miracle Man and Young Miracle Man, like Kid Miracle Man shows up again, and he's like hasn't changed back to the kid since the time 18 years ago when he's back to this. So, and he's like twisted and evil, and it's like a really cool thing because like he gets tricked into in a classic kind of way, as like how they beat like Black Adam or something. They trick him into saying his name, and he would get transported back into his human form. And that's what happens in this for the kid, but he gets turned back into the kid, and he's like 12, and he's been trapped in this evil being's body for 18 years or whatever, and he's still 12, and he's like horribly traumatized, and it's like a giant thing where he's like trapped in an insane asylum because he's like in complete shock and nobody knows who he is because it's been like 18 years and he's still 12. It's really dark. It's really cool. There's like this is like the cool thing. There's like this government operative who's Big Ben, who's like a superhero, and he's like had like all these weird kind of reality implant over his vision. So like there's a cool thing where like, he's beaten and crazy, but like, you can see like there's a difference between what is actually happening and what he sees. So here, like you know, he believes these like two superhero friends of his have put on a healing vest so that he can be saved, and he's very happy that he's being taken away by his friends. And here in reality, he's like in a straitjacket, and they're just like, this guy's a fucking mess. It's great. This whole thing is really dark. It's really interesting. It's really, there's like 2 more volumes of this. Can't wait to get them. Like, this is really good. And like, I mean, this is probably more helpful for me because like I'm a big fan of Shazam and I kind of get what is going on here. But even if you're not, it's a really good story. Like, you could really get into it. It starts off with this kind of like 1950s story, like prologue 1956, and it's like got these kind of like golden age kind of goofy story where it introduces the family and like does this thing, and then it's just like suddenly boom, you're in the 80s, and like it's dark and you know, like the tone shift is like, wow, it's great. So good. The only complaint I have about this book, it's a hardcover, it's good, nice quality, is that like if you look at this, like you can see on the thing here, this white part, it's like half of the book. This white part is the story. This black part is just like all art. It's just like all sketches and you know, character designs and stuff. So like it's actually like pretty skimpy on the story. Like there's 3 volumes of these. They could probably put it all into like 1 volume, is my guess. It's just Marvel being Marvel. So Marvel is reprinting these. They're available. I would definitely recommend this. If you haven't read Miracle Man, do it. It's good. Can't wait to read the rest of those. Not that I have them. I gotta buy them. But I definitely will be doing that. So yeah, that's it. That's it for this week. I'll probably have more next week. Almost definitely have more than 3. So unless I jump into more giant omnibuses, which is possible. I've got some stuff. I got a lot of stuff. So yeah, that'll do it. I will catch you guys next time.